bit of a scrap really, and getting away from modern life.
You're stood in the same place as somebody who, you know, never came back, who died.
Well, the Sealed Knot is a reenactment society that's been formed since 1967 or 68 and portrays, I suppose, the life and experience on a hands-on approach of the 17th century England and history, covering the period of the English Civil Wars from 1642 to 1649.
The rest of the army are coming through here.
I'm trained as a blacksmith, only down the road in the village of Morton Morrell. But obviously through my sort of interest in history and reenactment, my main thing is at the moment I'm doing lots of reproduction arms and armour. Mostly armour, mostly in the 17th century and 16th century style, but I do cover all other periods as well.
Joining a reenactment society isn't something you, well in my case, that you make a conscious decision to do. It's something I fell into. I've always been interested in history, and when I was younger I used to take my mother out to castles quite a lot. Very fascinated with historical buildings. Back in 2004 was my very first muster down at Taunton Racecourse, and I joined. I had a fantastic time, and 9 years on, here I am still doing it.
I got into reenactment because I kind of like these sort of the physicality of it, you know, having a bit of a sort of bit of a scrap really, and getting away from modern life, I guess. But as I sort of got into it more, I got into the sort of history aspect of it and sort of learnt more about the sort of crafts and different aspects of the sort of social side and the military side of things. And also obviously the armour, which is my main interest.
The walls on this side were particularly strong. The weakest further, the parliamentarians pushed in. That was only equalled by the royalists, who knew that their only hope was to fight to the death. And for their king...
It's very difficult to actually pinpoint what would be my favourite part of the Reenactment Society, because I do get a great deal of enjoyment from being on the field and actually firing a gun and entertaining the crowds more than anything. I do like to have a little bit of an element of being the centre of attention at times, which, yes, you can fulfil that on the field because everybody's watching you, you're pretending to be somebody else, you're reenacting, you're almost acting, not quite. It's the people as well, your friends who you make. You've got, it's like a big family.
I'm in a flying jacket.
It's all about escapism, I think, and I think for a fleeting moment, for that weekend, all your troubles, all your worries, it's quite surprising how they completely disappear, and you become this other persona. And I think that is one of the biggest draws of the Sealed Knot. Losing your troubles and being somebody else. It's not actually, you know, I wouldn't say it in a cowardly way as, oh, you know, I can't deal with real life. And what I would say is real life sometimes offers you challenges and gets you down a little bit. There have been events where I have been having troubles in the real life, in the real world, and I've been driving to musters thinking, I really, really don't want to be doing this. Sometimes you do actually feel that way. I've had a weekend of amazing fun, lots of excellent company and laughter, and you drive home feeling like $1 million. You feel brilliant after a muster. It is an absolute tonic.
at our events, we do all sorts of different types of events, ranging from small regimental living history events up to large, big, spectacular battles. For each of these events, there's a lot of planning and organisation that goes into them. Obviously, there's the living history side of things, where people that are into actually living for the whole weekend as a 17th century soldier or 17th century person will come along with their own authentic kit, and they'd set up in a different area and actually have all the, I suppose, or none of the modern luxury and comforts. They'd be sleeping in tents similar to that of design used in the 17th century.
Hearken ye men of England! Hold cheap your manhood and hang your heads in shame! If you cannot, when there's time, come and defend the honour of your liege sovereign Charles!
Well, what we do on this one is I cook for the regiment. I cook authentic food. I try and keep it as authentic as we can, so it's all recipes from the 17th century, as much of the food as we can that they would have had in the 17th century. I cook all the food, the regiment come down and eat it all after the battle. So it gives me something to do during the day, so that I'm not just stood around watching. I can actually get into it. It's got a brilliant atmosphere, everybody's friendly, everybody's willing to help each other out, and everybody's interested in what we're interested in. So it's great for meeting people and doing great things.
You get all sorts really. Some people are real sort of history sort of buffs, so they want to sort of almost travel back in time, I suppose. And you get a lot of other people, perhaps younger guys, who just want a bit of escapism and just want to sort of get away from the sort of humdrum of sort of modern life and just get away really and have a good laugh with the mates, sit around a campfire, sing a few songs, you know, have a bit of a scrap, and this, you know, just the social side really. I think that's the main thing for a lot of people.
When we're not fighting, when we're not battling, when we're not drilling, obviously there is the important issue of taking on food and drink. And especially at larger events, we've taken on the drink on board is quite entertaining. We sometimes go in large groups and descend on a pub in the locality, and quite often it does surprise the locals. Lots of people in very strange clothes turn up and drink them dry.
I think you're just going to have to film. I don't know anything else.
Generally, we make the most out of the evening, and you know, it's generally a very good time is had by all.
I think you should see more facial hair around it.
A good idea to discuss that.
Come across as a total fucking
Stop having a tantrum like a child, sir. Come forth and meet your God. He's my God, sir. He's what I feel. We'll live here for another 100 years. And God, and it's right. Lord, Parliament, and outside, and you done so many events. You're nothing but traitors and trash, sir. You'll rubbish your way back to London.
Yeah, I guess reenactment at the moment is forming a massive part of my work and my business. I do other stuff as well. I do sort of ornamental ironwork, gates, railings, weather vanes, all that sort of thing. You know, mending. I give a day out to mend someone's metal bench. You know, anything I can get my hands on. But the main thing is sort of through reenactment and historical groups making armour and historical artefacts like, you know, I don't know, camping equipment and that sort of thing. But yeah, armour is my real niche, and that's what I enjoy doing the most. Yeah, I take great satisfaction out of that. It's really good to see, you know, more and more now I'm getting more established as a historical armourer. I look around sort of reenactment groups and different circles and museums and that sort of thing, and I say, oh yeah, I made that one, or I did a bit of work on that, and yeah, it's great. It gives me a real, real sense of pride.
In Henry Tillier's regiment of foot, we, especially in the musket block, training is of tantamount importance, especially for health and safety, and especially because we're handing firearms, shotguns, live weapons in short. They're basically trained on arrival as new recruits in handling. It would be a dummy musket. They would handle the gun. I would take them through their basic postures, which would be porting, shouldering and ordering the musket. And they would be required to show a basic level of competency in basic hand-to-hand fighting techniques as well, so that they're safe to go onto the battlefield. Once they've got that one sorted out, we then go on to main drill with the rest of the block, and they integrate themselves. And the drill then would concentrate on manoeuvring, spacings, facings, firing by salvo and firing by full-on rank and file. Once we've gotten the basics covered there, and especially if they would then like to become live firers, we encourage them to go to their local police, get themselves an application for a shotgun licence and a black powder licence. And once these documents come through, we can then proceed to train them in operating and firing live weapons. When they reach a certain proficiency and have fired a minimum number of shots, we then present them for what's known as a musket test. The Sealed Knot has what's known as a musket inspectorate as part of the Board of Safety, and this ensures that people are safe and competent on the field with a firearm.
Recover.
It's quite interesting the varied reactions you get when you tell somebody you dress up in silly clothes, go back in time 350 years, and play with guns. I've had reactions ranging from "wow, that sounds really interesting" to the point where they'd like to have a go themselves, through to the strange looks that you get when people think you're quite bonkers.
Mixed, quite mixed. I think some people sort of think, oh, you know, you're dressing up in fancy dress for the weekend, and you know, bit of, you know, it's a bit silly, isn't it? But other people are really interested and really sort of think, oh yeah, well, that's quite a cool hobby to have. You know, everyone needs a hobby, don't they? So you know.
Yeah, it's definitely an alternative hobby, most certainly. But as I say, it's what each individual person thinks.
Lots of people got bills to pay, and those people these days are, you know, worried about their jobs and financial security, and you can just get away from that for the weekend and just be yourself really, and let off a bit of steam and let your hair down.